With 2024 wrapping up, I thought it'd be a great time to talk about some of the fights that I'm hoping to see in 2025. In this video, I'll go over a mix of dream matchups and must-see fights that really need to happen. No excuses. I've got a list about around like 10 fights to break down, and even if a few of these come together, 2025 is gonna shape up to be a wild year for the fans. So let's get into it. Alright, hear me out. This might sound a bit wild, but I've got an idea for Dustin Poirier's last fight. And yeah, it might be a bit of a stretch, but stick with me. The man wants a big name. The problem is, when I look at the lightweight division, all the big names are either busy or already crossed off his list. Because he's not fighting Chandler again, he already beat him, and the same thing can be said about Dan Hooker. It's the same deal. As for the trilogy with Justin Gaethje, call me crazy, but I don't think it's happening anytime soon. And a third scrap with Max Holloway, sure, it's a nice thought, but Max is probably still taking a long nap after getting finished for the first time in his career. Alright, enough stalling. Drumroll please. I think Dustin Poirier should fight Paddy Pimblett next. Yeah, I said it. I know, there's talks of Paddy fighting BSD, and that's all well and good, but if the UFC really wants to cash in on Paddy's potentially star power, why not throw him into the fire with Poirier? Imagine Poirier versus Pimblett. That would be huge. Not a main event huge, but a solid co-main event material. And let's be real, the buildup would be a chef's kiss. Now, am I booking this fight purely because it sounds fun as hell? Absolutely. Do I think Dustin puts on the clinic and hands on Paddy? Of course. But hey, if you're gonna fast track Paddy to superstardom, you might as well see if he can swim with the sharks. Look what it did for Sean O'Malley. One fight, one win, and boom, got a title shot. So let's see if Paddy's got it or if he's gonna get Poirier'd into oblivion. Now switching gears to another fight I'd love to see, Mario Bautista versus Alex Pereira. Obviously, I'm just kidding, relax, I'm not that crazy. Obviously, I'm talking about Mario Bautista versus Henry Cejudo. The fight writes itself. Everyone wants to see Mario get humbled, and Henry's the perfect guy to do it. I mean, remember when Henry called Mario out months ago? That moment alone gave Bautista all the momentum he needed to become the division's biggest heel since Aljo. Besides, this guy deserves to get punished for what he did to Jose Aldo, holding him against the cage. And sure, Henry's on a 2-fight losing skit, but let's cut the guy some slack. He lost to the 2 best bantamweights in the world. Now it's redemption time. And what better way to get back on track than by taking out Bautista? Henry's got the skills to grind out a decision, and I'd love to see him cage hug Mario for 15 minutes just to see how he likes it. Justice served, am I right? Alright, the next fight we have is a huge potential fight that's most likely happening next year, but this is one of the fights that need to happen. Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones. Allegedly, this fight is happening. Dana White has been hyping it up. Tom's been dropping little hints, and honestly, if it does happen, we're talking about one of the biggest heavyweight fights ever. No exaggeration. This is a must for both guys' career. Now, I know Jon Jones likes to downplay these things, saying it won't add much to his legacy. Sure, fine. His 205-pound legacy is untouchable. No argument there. But let's be real, when it comes to his heavyweight resume, it's light. He's beaten 2 heavyweights so far, one who couldn't grapple to save his life, and another one who's out of his prime, and arguably a legend, but he's out of his prime. If Jones beats Aspinall though, that's a game changer. It legitimizes his run at heavyweight and takes his stock to a whole new level. And the same goes for Tom. If Aspinall can beat Jon Jones, dude, he's a legend. Beating Jon Jones is a career-defining moment, one of those wins that cements your name in MMA history. It would skyrocket Tom's star power overnight. That's why this fight needs to happen, and judging by how things are lining up, it feels like it's meant to be. So yeah, we need this fight ASAP, whether it's in March or midsummer. I don't care, just make it happen. Honestly, I'm looking forward to this fight more than anything else in the UFC right now. So, alright, let's talk about another massive fight that needs to happen. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. No ifs and or buts about it. This matchup is a must. Now, I know Alex has been teasing that it might not happen, and yeah, I've seen the rumors flowing around. Honestly, I think he's just baiting people. I'm taking everything he says with a grain of salt until an official fight announcement drops. Because let's be real, the only name being floating around for Alex is Carlos Ulberg. And if that fight gets booked, I'll be pissed. No disrespect to Ulberg, but he's ranked number 6. Giving him a shot over Ankalaev would feel like a slap in the face to the fans who would want to see the best matchups. But I've got faith in the MMA gods to come through for us and deliver us Pereira versus Ankalaev. This fight isn't just another title defense, it's a battle of styles and a clash of titans. Magomed Ankalaev is the final boss of the light heavyweight division. He's a monster, and a win over him would cement Alex Pereira's place as one of the greatest. If Alex were to dodge this fight, I'd be generally disappointed, not just because I'm a huge Alex fan, but because I generally believe he has what it takes to beat Ankalaev. That said, this fight is terrifying and intriguing. Ankalaev is a great striker, and he can grapple, and Pereira's insane striking makes for one of the most exciting matchups possible. It's the kind of fight that has all the fans buzzing because we don't know what's gonna happen. Can Alex keep it standing long enough to find that kill shot, or does Ankalaev drag him into deep waters with his grappling? That's the beauty of it, because this isn't just a fight, it's the fight. It's scary, it's fun, and it's exactly what we need in the light heavyweight division. So let's hope the MMA gods don't let us down. Give us Pereira versus Ankalaev and let the chaos unfold. Another matchup I'd love to see is Benoit St. Denis versus Michael Chandler. Now, both fighters are on losing streaks and have questionable fight IQ, which makes this pairing a recipe for absolute chaos. Benoit fights like someone who's playing a video games and just spamming all the buttons with no real strategy, just raw aggression. Chandler, on the other hand, is notorious for making wild, ill-advised decisions in the heat of the moment. Together, they could create one of the craziest, most chaotic fights in UFC history. Imagine Benoit throwing everything at Chandler in a relentless button mashing style, while Chandler responds by throwing wild haymakers and risking it all with reckless attacks. It's the kind of fight that will have fans on their feet from start to finish, and honestly, it makes sense for the UFC to book this. Chandler is ranked number 7, Benoit St. Denis is ranked number 12, and they both need a win to bounce back. Plus, let's face it, Chandler is not getting that Conor McGregor fight anytime soon. If this fight does happen, I see Chandler getting the win with an explosive first round finish, probably followed by a backflip celebration. And knowing Chandler, he'll use the mic time to call out McGregor again, adding even more entertainment value to the whole spectacle. The next matchup that absolutely needs to happen next year is Petr Yan versus Sean O'Malley 2. It just makes too much sense, and it would be a massive fight for the bantamweight division. Yan has clawed his way back from a 3-fight losing streak with an impressive 2-fight win streaks, taking out top contenders like Song Yadong and Figgy. Meanwhile, Sean just lost his title to Merab, and let's be honest, he doesn't deserve an immediate rematch with whoever wins the belt between Umar and Merab. This is a fight to make because the first bout between Yan and O'Malley was so controversial. Some argued it was the best fight of the year, and there was still unfinished business that needs to be settled. The storyline practically writes itself: two elite fighters battling for the number 1 contender spot, a rematch in 2025 with 5 rounds on the line. That sounds like something out of a movie. As for the fight itself, I actually think Yan takes it by decision this time. In their first fight, O'Malley looked like he was starting to crack under Yan's relentless pace. Over 5 rounds, I don't see Sean handling that kind of pressure. But then again, anything can happen in a fight, and that's why this rematch needs to happen. Come on, UFC, let's book it already. Another intriguing fight that needs to happen next year is Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. This matchup has blockbuster written all over it for the middleweight division, and I'm expecting Dricus to beat Sean Strickland, and honestly, I'm rooting for it too. If he does, it will solidify Dricus as even more of an unstoppable force with his unorthodox, almost goofy fighting style that somehow works every time. On the other hand, Khamzat is a wrecking ball, especially in the first round. Seeing these two unstoppable forces collide, the immovable object versus the irresistible force, would be electrifying. It would be one of the biggest fights the UFC can book for the division, and it's hard to predict how this fight will play out. You'd think Khamzat would ragdoll Dricus with his relentless wrestling, but Dricus has this strange plot armor that just keeps him winning. That first round though would be something truly special, with both fighters looking to make a statement. This is the kind of fight that could define the middleweight division in 2024. Now, another fight I'd absolutely love to see, and it looks like it's likely to happen, is Dan Hooker versus Justin Gaethje. Now, this matchup has barbaric chaos written all over it and could easily be one of the most wildest fights of next year. Dan Hooker's story is incredible. The guy was on a 4-fight losing streak, barely hanging on, on the top 15, and somehow he turned it around with an insane 3-fight win streak. And honestly, it feels like those new tattoos gave him superpowers or something, because he's been a completely different beast in the octagon. Then there's Justin Gaethje. The dude is still an absolute dog. We all saw the memes after that fight with Max Holloway, but let's not forget before that, he was straight up a killer, taking out guys like Dustin Poirier, Rafael Fiziev, believe this fight would just be pure unfiltered chaos. It's one of those most exciting matchups that they can do in the lightweight division right now, and a guaranteed roller coaster of violence. If I had to pick, I'm leaning towards Dan Hooker. Those tattoos seem to have unlocked a whole new level for him, and honestly I think Max Holloway might have just taken a few years off of Justin Gaethje's career with that war. Hooker just seems to have the momentum right now. Another fight I really like to see in the middleweight division is Anthony Hernandez versus Paulo Costa. For some reason, this matchup just sounds like a lot of fun to me. Hernandez brings that relentless Colby Covington-like pressure to the middleweight division, and it never gets tired. He looked insanely dominant in his last fight against Mikael Pereira, and I'm curious to see if he can impose that grappling heavy style against someone like Costa. Costa is known for having ridiculously good grappling defense. Remember when Luke Rockhold had top mount on him and Costa just powered his way out? That alone makes this matchup so intriguing. Plus, Costa is in a bit of a rough patch right now, coming off a 2-fight losing streak, so this could be a really good opportunity for him to bounce back. Stylistically, it's fantastic. Costa is definitely the better striker, and Hernandez's stand-up isn't great, but his cardio and grappling can make things very interesting. It's just one of those matchups where the clash of styles really grab your attention, and I think it could end up being a super compelling fight in general. Now, another fight I'd love to see is Dominic Reyes versus Alexander Rakic. Now, before you say, bro, why are you trying to get Dominic Reyes killed again? Hear me out. I actually think this matchup is perfect for him stylistically. Rakic isn't known for devastating knockouts like a Ryan Spann or a Jan Blachowicz. In fact, he hasn't won a fight by knockout since 2019, and he's currently riding a 3-fight losing streak. Yet, somehow he's still ranked number 5, which honestly makes no sense, but that's a conversation for another day. What I'm saying is, this fight could be a chance for Dominic Reyes to revive his career. It's a good stylistic matchup, and it's the kind of fight that can show us if Reyes still has that dog in him. Remember Dan Hooker's comeback to crack the top 5? Wouldn't it be great if Reyes can have a similar moment? Now, I get it, Rakic doesn't gain much from this fight on paper, but let's be real, the dude lost 3 fights in a row, and we're all questioning how good he really is at this point. He's clearly not elite anymore, so this fight makes sense. Plus, it's an exciting test for both fighters, and if I had to pick, I'd go with Reyes pulling off the upset here. But yeah guys, those are the fights that I personally want to see in 2025. Obviously some need to happen, like Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones, no exception on that. But yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like always guys, I'll see you guys on my next one.